To me, one income is too close to none. And entrepreneurship is non-negotiable.
Your kids can't inherit a rented house, can they?
Whatever you do as a job, why can't you turn that into a business?
I won't go as far to say everyone should have a business, but I feel like everyone should have a side hustle.
The lifestyle that you want to live, when have you ever seen a school teacher live that life? Hi everyone, it's Io Noble. Welcome back to Insight with Io. I'm back with my guests again, Monty Lane Finance and Pokey Banks. And today we're going to be talking about entrepreneurship and home ownership. So guys, in this one here, I want to ask you quick. To me, one income is too close to none. And entrepreneurship is non-negotiable because I think everyone should have a business. Now, there's people that will argue and say, oh, not everyone's cut out to be a business owner, blah, blah, blah. But to me, it's like, as long as you're an employee, you're like, because for some reason, I just can't understand why people think it's not risky to be an employee, but it's risky to be an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Because that's what they always say, the level of risk. And it's like, but as an employee, who said you cannot be sacked?
Yeah, exactly.
Do you understand? Like, so someone it's just as risky, in my opinion. It's literally just as risky.
Yeah.
However, there's significantly more upside having your own business because you're in control of your own destiny. You're in control of how much money you can generate. And there's more benefits because that's just how the government works and that's just how the system works.
Yeah.
You know, so what are your thoughts? Because to me, one income is too close to none.
Yeah.
I think there's two ways to look at it. So there's the financial implications of not starting a business, and then there's the fulfillment side. The fulfillment side of not starting a business. So for me, well, like you mentioned, one income stream is too close to zero. So personally, I've always been of that nature, and I just think it's best to always have more than one income stream. The more, the better. That's the way I see things. Cash flow is super important these days, and of course, the more income streams you have, the better your cash flow. But then also from the fulfillment side of things, for me personally as an entrepreneur, starting a business, the sense of starting a business, helping it grow, watching it grow, it just gives me a certain sort of sense of satisfaction. It almost feels like it's my baby and I'm, watching it grow. And to me, it just makes me feel, it's what makes me feel fulfilled. And I just can't see why someone wouldn't want to have something, a hobby or, turning a hobby into some sort of business and just watching things grow. To me, it just gives me a great sense of satisfaction.
For me, I won't go as far to say everyone should have a business, a LTD per se, but I feel like everyone should have a side hustle, at least. But actually, before we continue, side hustles here, businesses here, in terms of like, just, they're cool. So I feel like everyone should have some sort of side hustle. There's so many ways to make money today. There's so many ways you can make money through affiliates. So referring someone, you don't even need to create a product. You can refer someone to a good product and make money. We were friends, right? So we have to do send out a text, make a video, explain how good something is. And not only that, with this life, right, I feel like everyone should have some sort of skill. It's just skill to speak. It's just skill to play football. Everyone should have some sort of skill that they can convey to the world. Like, what value do you bring? What fulfillment can you get from this? Because, again, for me, my love for finance, that love for finance, I've now turned that into a skill where I can then convey to others and make money from doing so. So it's like, even if it's not a business, you just saying to myself, cool, for the rest of my life, I'm going to work a 9 to 5 in a job I don't really like and then spend my weekends and look forward to weekends for the rest of my life. How about you do something, whatever you do in your spare time? I don't know, even if you literally, watch movies. You can review movies on YouTube. You can review movies, talk about how you thought about them and, convey that in a certain way that is entertaining and you can get paid from that. And then you can look forward to your Mondays. I always say, like, if you hate your Mondays, then you're in the wrong industry. You need to switch. So even if it's not a business, like, have a skill, have something you could bring value to the world, make people laugh, entertain people, help people, whatever you can do try do something. Everyone has a hobby. Monetize that hobby, or take it a bit more seriously. You know, even if you like eating junk food, you can literally eat food on TikTok and get paid. Like, so have some sort of skill and, you know, make money from that. You know, really, you know, stop staying in the shell and just being a statistic and being a cog in a wheel, you know. So
yeah, it's important because I feel like you touched a good point. Because when I say everyone, you say not everyone, I say everyone. Here's why I say everyone. Everyone that's employed, yeah, you are a resource for another business. So it means that you've now enabled someone else to be a middleman somewhere. And that business that you work for, they collect money based off your efforts, based off your skill, based off your deliverables, right? They now charge someone X amount and pay you a fraction of that. Why can't you do the same thing? Because deep it, whatever you do as a job, why can't you turn that into a business?
yeah,
If you're a salesperson, it means you have the capability of selling. Now, as a business, you could do one of two things. You could be, you could consult. You could be an independent sales rep. You could go to another business and say, "Look, I know how to sell. I will sell my company, which is nothing more than the formation of a limited company or a company's house. My company will sell on behalf of your, and you can do that at scale. Why not?
but just be devil's advocate.
Be the devil's advocate.
For the person watching. What if someone works, you know, they may work a good job, they would rather fit into a business than take the risk on starting one and going through all of that?
Well, you don't need to quit your job to start that business. So you're already working 9 to 5. To me, I see it as your 9 to 5, that's your first business partner. So you take the money from that 9 to 5, you then put it in. So you could even use that same money to hone the skill that you have that's already producing that 9 to 5, so that now that skill gets even, you know, stronger for you to now, let's say, take your $2,500 a month salary. You've invested in that skill that's generating the $2,500 a month. Now you have the skill, you have enough skill to go and now generate $10,000 a month from the exact same thing that you're doing, except that you do it for yourself. And you don't, like, obviously stay at the job until your side hustle or new business supersedes that income. But everyone can do it because there's a lot of, you know, resourceful people. There's people that work in HR. Why can't you start your own HR company? You're already helping this company, you know, produce. And if they're paying you 50, 60 grand, 70 grand, 100 grand, it means you must be producing them 5 to 10x of that money. So why are they able to charge 5 to 10x for your efforts? And you can't charge 5 to 10x for your efforts. That's how I see it.
When do you think someone should have started, not by age, but like maybe years into their career? Like, do you think, because you're saying everyone should have one, do you think some people may say, okay, I'd rather work in an accountant firm, learn the ropes, and then start my own accountant firm later down the line?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. You know, I think people should, like, I feel everybody has a skill that can be monetized. And some people, their skill is being monetized, but they're not getting as much money as they should be getting. You know, for example, I say, like, teachers. It's not that I'm trying to get at them or anything, but let's be real. The lifestyle that you want to live, when have you ever seen a school teacher live that life? Do you get what I mean? And it's not just them. Let's even say, you know, nursing, care, customer service. These are all things that businesses need. But for some reason, when you go in as an employee, they cap it. So let's say, you've worked as a customer service rep or something. Why don't you go and now create something where you could go to multiple e-commerce businesses or multiple whatever type of businesses and say, hey, I will provide you customer services as an agency. Now you're able to even get other people to do that work, and then you get a cut from it because of your experience. Or you can say, for example, hey, I'll work for you for X amount of hours. I'll work for you, or find an efficient way to work for multiple people, get more, and then get paid by multiple people. And then obviously your total revenue increases. So it's more about, like, especially like a teacher, the government doesn't pay well, but you have a good skill. What needs to happen is you just need to shift what you're teaching. Because there's something that's more valuable that you can teach that will get you more. Because you know how to put together lesson plans. So why don't you put together information that's worth more? You can make a course. Now, guess what? You've got, let's say, 100 people buying that course. You're making more than you would do your 9 to 5. So that's what I mean about
So
everybody could do that.
What do we really think is stopping people then? Is it because we mentioned this earlier on? Is it the fear of failure? What do you honestly think is stopping people from using their skills to then monetize on things?
I think, fear of failure, and I just feel like some people just don't.
Not
don't
everyone has
care.
it in them. Yeah,
They don't care to have that much, wealth or.
But they're the same people complaining though.
Yeah,
They're the same people that are gonna complain.
It's true. I feel like them people you can't please them, but I feel like some people aren't willing to put in the work, let alone at their normal jobs. So it's like they'll just settle.
For whatever.
some people are genuinely happy to live a comfortable life. Like, and I say comfortable, I'm not talking from a financial perspective, but an average life. And
I mean, for those that
it's each to their own.
Yeah, for those that want to do that, obviously, I mean, without you, we wouldn't have the average. So please continue being average. Like somebody has to play the role of the average in it. So continue. We're grateful. We're happy that you're there because I don't want to be there. But
like there's certain things like cleaners and like there's nothing wrong with those.
See, like that,
There's nothing wrong.
the cleaner that has experience cleaning, why is he not starting a cleaning company?
Yeah,
See, there's no job that's
it's true.
there's no skill that's bad.
Yeah, no. It's true. Yeah, it's just that. But some people, it's just. I feel like some people are in different stages of life where some people just like. Have you seen that video where it starts with a guy in a helicopter, and there's a guy in a Bugatti looking up at the helicopter, thinking, "Oh, I want to be like him."
Yeah.
And then there's a guy in a Mercedes looking at the Bugatti, thinking, "Oh, I want to be like him." And then normal car, and then someone in a wheelchair. So I feel like some people just want a source of income. Some people are struggling to get a job, so like they're just thinking first, like, I just want a job. I just want to get paid $2K a month, $3K a month. Like that would be the dream.
Yeah, they're not even thinking about 5 steps ahead. They're just focusing.
Yeah. Whereas like we're like now thinking like, okay, I want a business doing 5 figures a month. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think maybe people just aren't even that far ahead. Someone's probably working at McDonald's thinking, I wish my job would say 5 figures a year rather than advertise as £10 an hour. Like when the job's something an hour, that's how you know it's just low. But then, when it's like 60K a year, someone probably
you're going from an hourly wage to a salary. Just even that.
So I feel like what it is that people are just looking one step ahead
rather than 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, that might be it. But
yeah, because to me, do you know what it is? Yeah, I feel like with the way the system is, the only way to break free is, and this is what I personally view and think, the government deliberately tries to destroy the two things that will determine your freedom completely, which is a nuclear family and a business ownership. Mm-hmm. That's why those two things aren't taught. Because imagine, right? Because let's say you have a nuclear family where you have a mum and a dad with kids. Statistically, those kids are better off than kids in single parent homes in terms of outcomes and all of that. So already there's a positive impact of that. Then let's say the someone is a business owner. Statistically, you can look it up. Businesses or business owners pay the least tax. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can even, have further deductions just by paying your family members. Mm-hmm. So do you see how you become so independent of the government? Because again, if you have two parents in the home, then the doctrine or the indoctrination of the kids, what the kids are taught, how they're brought up, you're in more control of that in comparison to the state teaching. And then you got to think, it's all about where's the money coming from. When you look at private schools, I'm sure they're probably taught more about entrepreneurship and things like that, because who is funding the private school? It's the parents of the kids that are going who are business owners. Yeah. So why would I go and pay for my kid to go and learn how to become an employee? For their whole life. Yeah. Whereas public school, who's paying for that? The government. How does the government make money? Taxes. Who does the government make the most money from taxes from? Employees. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's why I say, everyone can be business owners. Like, it can be. Obviously, we can't all be business owners in the same specific industry. Of course not. But everyone has different skills that other people are essentially benefiting from now. It's just that all the money is staying at the top of the company rather than in your pocket where it should rightfully be.
Yeah, exactly.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to ask quickly is your views on renting versus owning. Now, to me, I'll never understand when someone says renting is better than owning. or renting is better than having a mortgage, because when you're renting, you're paying someone else's mortgage. So I don't understand how you saying me going directly to the bank is worse than me going through a middleman who's gonna add his own fee on it to go through to the bank.
Yeah. You know what? My opinion on it actually is it differs a bit. I see the pros of both. I feel that firstly, if you're looking to buy a home,
and when I say that, I mean permanently. Like, obviously,
we're talking from a residential
yeah,
perspective.
like in terms of
permanent.
like is because obviously at a point you need to rent, like, and stuff like that. There's nothing wrong with that. It's the idea of I will never buy.
I'll never buy.
I will never get a mortgage when I can rent.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah. So for your forever home, I definitely feel like buying makes the most sense. I feel with renting, what I'll give them is that they have the flexibility. You know, those that may not want to live in one place for the rest of their life. They may want to move countries and whatnot. With buying, however, you're only paying that mortgage rate. You're not, but then the downside is that you have to pay, anything that messes up, that's all on you. All these little, you have to pay stamp duty. You have to pay all these legal fees and whatnot, refurbishments, throughout the life of the house. But at least, essentially, you're saving. When you're paying the mortgage, you're paying with some interest, but you're saving because, again, once you retire, you've got an asset that's there for you.
You're putting equity into the house, yeah.
So it's like a saving part.
And one day you won't have the outgoing.
Yeah.
Whereas renting, you're forever gonna have an outgoing, and as long as the world works the way it works, by the time you get to retirement, your rent is gonna be even higher.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
You're at the lowest point of income at that time. So
who wants to be renting at 70, 80?
the people that say that they don't want to buy. Because I will never get it. Like, it's like, if you buy, like, even your mortgage now is probably, if you had the mortgage directly, it would be cheaper than what your landlord will charge you. Because your landlord's in the business of making profit.
They need to make money, yeah. There needs to be that surplus, yeah.
So they're going to have the same mortgage that you've got. And now they've added another 300-400 onto the rent. So now you're paying more than what you would if you just owned.
Yeah.
And eventually, when you get to 60, the guy that owns, eventually his mortgage will be finished, meaning that he doesn't have that high outgoing, the biggest outgoing that everyone has, which is the roof over their head. Yeah. Whereas yours is just going to be skyrocketing. Eventually, by your generation, when they get to 60, it's going to be like $2,500 for a one bed.
Yeah.
Two bags for studio.
It's already like that in central London.
Oh, Jesus, look at that. It's already like that. So what, $3,000? It's going to be like $3,000.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got to make that choice, But there's actually some people, right? They actually would rather put that surplus into the index funds and rent, and they believe that will grow to match out and balance out over the 40, 50 years. Have you heard of that type of strategy?
Yeah, no, people certainly do
investing rather than overpaying.
So instead of putting down, so my understanding of what you said is instead of putting down a deposit to buy a house, say 10%, they then rent, and then instead of using that deposit, they then put that money that would have been a deposit into index funds. Is that what you meant?
Yeah.
So people do that, but I just prefer home ownership. I like knowing that things are certain. I just don't. I get from a numbers perspective, it does make sense, but I think we're talking real life, and it's not just a numbers thing. It's an ownership thing, and it just doesn't make sense to be renting at a late in your 70s, 80s. You want something that you could potentially pass on to your kids as well. Your kids can't inherit a rented house, can they? Obviously, there's this whole conversation about inheritance tax and whatnot, but ownership is really the way forward, I think, anyway.
Yeah.
Cool. So I guess you guys are with me in terms of
I'd
rather own their rent forever.
Yeah, for sure.
So
your forever home, definitely you want to own. You don't want, and even just from a natural perspective, you don't want no one to chat to you in a certain way, like, oh, this is due, or stop making noise. The neighbors are like, I hate that. Like you want to live life on your own terms. So having your own house and whatnot,
And that's what I meant about it's not just a financial decision. It's also an emotional decision, because in rented houses, you'd have to get permission to paint the wall. How am I asking for permission in my own house to paint a wall, to hang something up on my bedroom?
You can't have a poster that.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to install fitted wardrobes, you have to ask permission. It just.
Yeah,
so it's not the way forward.
Yeah, no, because and the other argument that they make is the whole flexibility thing. It's like, so hold on.
This is what grinds my gears, right? Because people say, oh, I'm an entrepreneur. I might want to move to Spain, or I might want to move to Dubai or whatever. When you're renting, you're locked into a fixed contract. It could be 6 months, it could be 12 months. So people say, oh yeah, it gives you that flexibility, but you're still locked in, and you could actually sell your house in quicker than 6 months or 12 months. So that's just
Bro, you're speaking my language, because that thing always just, I don't understand. Like, are they not seeing how people are here queuing and
They
there's
say it to
40
make
bids
themselves
to
feel
rent,
better about
and people are
themselves.
struggling to find somewhere to rent.
Yeah.
Like, they go on like, oh no, if I'm renting, then, and I just decide that I want to be in a new house by next week. I mean, no, you got to go and
paying
look
that
for a new
contract.
house to rent.
Yeah.
Then you got to be the one that the landlord wants.
Yeah.
And the whole process of you moving from one house to the other, you haven't got paid. Whereas me, if I own my house and then I decide I want to be in another house, well, now all I have to do is sell this house. I've sold it, and then I've got another one.
Yeah,
So
going for another one, yeah.
it's almost like they talk about flexibility like it's just a drop of the hat. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna text my landlord like in 5 minutes and I'm in a new house by next week.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I agree as well. Like, I think the flexibility argument, they use it just to like get you off their back type of thing. But I feel I see where they're coming from. Like, if you want to try out a new area, again, if you want to move to another country, you want to try it out for a bit. Yeah, you rent for 6 months, 12 months, so you're not fully invested into that house or whatnot. Get a feel of the area, and yeah.
I mean, for me, I just think on the long term,
If you're settling down in the UK, yeah, 100%. But like Pokey said, if you're traveling, if you need to be in XYZ country every now and then, renting might make a bit more sense.
but then you saying that the traveling, when you now travel, yeah. So let's say, yeah, you spend 6 months in the UK and 6 months abroad. When you're spending 6 months in the UK and you leave to go abroad, what your tenancy, all of that is done in, yeah? Because they're moving as though like they're not still paying that rent. So unless it's like you're doing this nomadic life from your parents' house, that's one thing.
Yeah.
But to say no, I've got my rent in whatever area,
Yeah.
and then I'm just gonna not pay. All right, landlord, I'm gone. I'm just going to Thailand for 6 months.
Yeah.
So now that tenancy's done. You're no longer a tenant there. When you're coming back from Thailand, what happens then? What you get?
Yeah,
Repeat the process.
do you see what I'm saying? So it's more of a thing, because in my opinion, I think that they're still paying that rent anyway, regardless. So this whole argument of, but if you want to be able to live that life, just be able to afford to live that life.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, I'd rather say, look, I'd rather be able to afford to keep, my mortgage payments. That's reducing what I owe on the property that's eventually going to be mine. And obviously, if I want to spend 6 months in another country, then I can afford to pay for both.
Yeah.
That's what I would say.
Yeah. I like that. For me personally, it's just knowing I don't even know where I want to settle down yet. I don't even know. So it's like I'm not even at the point where, okay, I'm gonna take all this money, put it for a deposit, and also with the mindset of I rather invest. It's like that deposit money. I'm thinking there's opportunity costs. Like, I can do that and then have this mortgage, but I'd rather try grow that money in other ways to then do that at a later time where it's more easy. Like, oh, it's just little mortgage I haven't paid that.
Which makes sense. So the timing, there's no argument on the timing.
Yeah, timing is
it's the concept of
when
I'm going to rent forever.
Yeah.
I'd rather rent forever than ever own, because renting is cheaper or it's more flexible. That's the bit that I don't get.
And it's like, the funny thing about that is like, a lot of people try to tell you, oh yeah, I'm not in real estate. You are in real estate. You're just on the losing side. like we're all in real estate.
They're gonna be hurting after they hear that one.
Like we're all in real estate. It's just decides what side you want to play on. So yeah, being on the renting side, yeah, you get a little bit of flexibility. You get to try out a new place for 6-12 months. But at the end of the day, there's transactions everywhere, and I like to be the one receiving money. You wanna get your mortgage paid for, and yeah, you have an asset that's worth hundreds of thousands of pounds. So that's really nice, especially when it comes to investing and whatnot. But even as a mortgage as well, you're getting the cheapest rate, because renting, there's always gonna be a markup anyway, and it's direct to the bank, and yeah.
Well, guys, there you have it. I mean, you are in real estate. you're just either on the winning or the losing side. So thanks again, guys, for sharing your thoughts on that. If anyone wants to find you, I mean, obviously, I'm going to put your social handles underneath anyway, but is there, if anyone wants to find you, where should they look?
Monty Lane Finance on absolutely everything: Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Threads. I think that's everything.
Facebook.
Monty Lane Finance, just you'll find me there.
Cool.
At Pokey Banks on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Yeah.
Brilliant. So as you can see, guys, they have a lot to offer. Thanks again for coming, and
Appreciate having us.
remember, guys, don't die for free. Peace out.